I'm Victor Tiffany with Revolt Against Plutocracy, and this is an update on the burn your bus strategy for 2020. I'm going to talk about basically two things in this presentation. First, why? Very specifically, numerically, why burn your bus is a foregone conclusion. In 2016, I didn't even think it was a prediction until after the fact. This time around, we know if Bernie Sanders is not the nominee, Donald Trump will be reelected. And I'm going to show you the numbers supporting that claim, that foregone conclusion. And then I'm also going to address a video that was made by Tim Pool on his Timcast YouTube channel about my article in Newsweek indicating that burn your bust is a warning and a foregone conclusion. He addressed that. So let me begin here by sharing my screen. I'm going to go right into this claim. So we're going to come over here and look at this. These are the Sanders supporters, people who voted for Sanders in the primary election, but they didn't vote for, or these people, the 78% or so, did vote for Hillary Clinton. These Bernie supporters gave Clinton majority backing in the election. She got popular support because of these guys. These guys voting for another candidate, in other words, Jill Stein, or maybe even the Libertarian candidate. These are the burn your busters. These people who did not vote, that's not burn your bust, not officially. There are people who didn't vote, claim to be burn your bust, but officially in 2016, it was these folks, and what's not indicated on here are write-in votes. We'll talk about them in a moment. When we looked at the results in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, we analyzed these around those differences in the outcome, right? What was the vote count for Trump versus Clinton? In Wisconsin and in Michigan, we could have claimed responsibility, right? Because this increase that Jill Stein got from the burn your bust between 2012 and 2016 was enough to help Hillary Clinton lose in Wisconsin and Michigan, but not in Pennsylvania. In Pennsylvania, we fell just over 9,600 votes shy of being able to claim responsibility. However, Bernie or Trump voters, so we never paid much attention to them until just recently. We were always a little confused. Why would someone support Bernie and turn around and back Trump? Maybe it had to do with trade. There was an analysis on Vox website that indicated from polling that these people weren't really doing it about trade. It might have been misogyny. You know, we need a man in the White House, commander-in-chief sort of sexism. Really don't know why 12% of Bernie supporters, these people right here, voted for Trump. But they did. And that 12% alone, was enough to cause Hillary Clinton the election in Pennsylvania, in Wisconsin, and in, the other state. Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Michigan. These are the people who wanted Bernie, but they weren't going to support centrist Democrat. These might be working class who are fed up with the status quo, fed up with the way the Democrats provided health care, right? Obamacare. Healthcare expenses are going up. They continue to go up. Their coverage is worse and worse. So there's a lot of reasons why Bernie supporters might have wanted Trump as a disruptor of the status quo. Who knows what was on their minds? We don't. No polling has been done to my knowledge. What we do know is by themselves, these people right here caused Hillary Clinton the election. So combine Bernie or Trumpers with Bernie or busters, and there's no question this 20% of Bernie supporters not only caused defeat of the neoliberal centrist Democrat in 2016, they will do it again. We are certain of that. These two groups, the Bernie or busters and the Bernie or Trumpers, are going to cause whether it's nominee is Elizabeth Warren or the nominee is Joe Biden or Buttigieg, whoever, they're going to cause the election to go to Trump again. Now, here's polling from Emerson College poll 2016, April. 26%. See where it says here? 26% of those who support Sanders are going to vote for Trump over Elizabeth Warren. The problem with this Emerson College poll that they're citing is that there's no indication in this Emerson College publication that 26% of Bernie supporters are going to vote for Warren. So we've contacted Emerson College multiple times now to try to get them to confirm this poll. Where's the data showing us from this poll in April that 26% of Bernie supporters, 26%, that's more than twice as many as last time. More than twice as many as last time. Here's the polling results. All right, we've gone down this thing with a fine-tooth comb. We've looked at data. Right, there's a spreadsheet associated with this. We've gone down that spreadsheet showing the data from this poll. There's nothing indicating in here. So we've contacted Professor Kimball and asked him why, where that data is. Do they have data to support this claim? And apparently they don't. So we're basing our foregone conclusion on these numbers right here. And this time, as we keep pointing out in podcasts, on Twitter, that Trump has the economic winds at his back. He's going to be very hard to defeat, whether polling indicates at this point is moot, because most people still are not paying attention. They're not political junkies like you and I. So here's the article that I think I referred to last time in this on this channel. Newsweek was kind enough to give Bernie or Bust a platform. And then Tim Pool, this guy, did a coverage, did a story, a presentation, an episode of his show. Bernie supporters gave Democrats an ultimatum: nominate Bernie or Trump wins. Now, he jumps to the conclusion that this civil war in the Democratic Party means Trump wins re-election, because he doesn't look at some vital information. So I'm just going to click over here for a second. This is where the Bernie or Bust television, this episode covers Tim covering the Newsweek. And he points out that Tim ignores this important information. You see over here on the left. Thomas Piketty, French political economist, has done a study of voter habits. All right, so I'm going to link to this below. You can click on this and watch this. This is a little long. It's 43 minutes long, but it has some excellent material in it. Not only covering these poor people that Bernie Sanders can find because he has a volunteer army of 1 million people. He has his own voter database this time, and it's connected to BurnApp. So these volunteers are finding these poor people and poorly educated people who have given up voting. That's what Piketty's insight is. These people don't vote unless there's a social democrat on the ballot. You know, someone like Bernie Sanders. So I'm just going to come over here to Tim Pool's review, because he talks about the Bernie Sanders agenda, getting big money out of politics. He says some strange things in here about saving the planet. He says, get your socialism out of our environmentalism. In other words, he thinks the market is going to save the planet. I don't know where he's coming from, but it's going to require mobilization of government resources to transform the energy sector and preserve the climate as is. It's going to require progressive governance. But I just want to see, hopefully the audio comes through here. I want you to hear what Tim says about why he's not supporting Bernie Sanders. Listen to this.
I agree with a lot of this. I agree with a lot. So the problem comes when Bernie goes up on stage and says, white people don't know what it's like to be poor, gives up his stage to these activists, and lets cancel culture wokeness take.
All right. So the first one, he doesn't like the way Bernie speaks about white privilege. And the second one, when he talked about these activists, that was in Philadelphia in 2016. It wasn't his campaign rally. He was a guest. He was the primary guest. He was going to speak at an event, a campaign event, but it wasn't his campaign organizing the event. He was a speaker. He was a guest. And Black Lives Matter activists jumped up on stage, and instead of somebody calling security and forcing them off the stage the way racist Donald Trump would have done it, Bernie Sanders, who marched with Dr. King, let these Black Lives Matter activists have a voice, the same way Newsweek allowed me to have a voice. Because Bernie Sanders is an anti-racist. He's okay with people, with Black people having a voice, giving them a role in government. What Tim Pool is upset about is Bernie's anti-racism. And that's why Tim Pool, a fairly progressive guy, supports racist Donald Trump. Tim Pool, whether he recognizes it or not, is a white supremacist. So once again, I'm just going to come over here, point at the Bernie or Bust television channel here on Facebook. I'm sorry, here on YouTube. Subscribe to that. He does a daily show weekdays. It's excellent material. We basically agree. There's no disagreement. We see eye to eye on the issues, on the approach. So subscribe to Bernie Bust Television. Watch it. You're probably not going to get a notification. And one more point. I just mentioned Facebook by accident. I was promoting this episode right here on Facebook yesterday. Other people are doing that without a problem. I was promoting it on Facebook yesterday. I'm in jail, Facebook jail for a week. I can't leave a comment. I can't leave a post on my own Revolt Against Plutocracy page this time. This jail is deeper than ever before. You want to know why? Because the corporations are paying attention to Victor Tiffany, and they're trying to repress this whole Bernie or Bust argument. Don't let them. Get the word out. Here's the facts. Because of these people, and we can't control these people. You know, we can't say, hey, even Bernie was asking people to vote for Clinton. They didn't. They voted for Donald Trump. And we wanted people to vote for Jill Stein. So he can't control this outcome. No one can control this outcome. I can't control this outcome. I certainly can't control the Bernie or Trumpers, as I said on a podcast yesterday, or that was published yesterday, trying to get all these Bernie or Busters on the same plate, on the same strategy. And then that's the first thing we do here on this article, is try to say exactly what Bernie or Bust is and is not. And it's not writing in a candidate who's not registered as a candidate. It's not staying home. It's not voting for Trump. Bernie or Bust 2.0 means voting progressive on November 3rd. Hopefully that's going to be Bernie Sanders. And Bernie Sanders can defeat Trump in a way no one else can, because these poor and poorly educated, let's call them Piketty voters, won't back Biden, won't back Elizabeth Warren. They're going to come out for a social democrat, a democratic socialist like Bernie Sanders. Hashtag, and this is another interesting thing I just want to pull up here. Look at this. I'm going to pull up Twitter. One final point I want to make, because this is new. It just started happening. We just started realizing here that only Bernie beats Trump, that it's a foregone conclusion in the last couple of months. And we really only started focusing in on these Bernie or Trump voters. But let me just type in what happens here after just a couple days of, if I can get Twitter to respond, here we go. Hashtag only B. Look what pops up there after just a couple days. Let's make that hashtag trend as much as possible. In the next 3 months, let's make only Bernie beats Trump trend on social media, because that will get mainstream media's attention. And that will get progressive media's attention. Progressive media is really asleep at the wheel. We have a post on our website showing a list of these progressive media who are not talking about Bernie or bust yet. Garland Nixon, Chicago Tribune, Majority Report. David Pakman doesn't like Bernie or bust in 2016, but he hasn't mentioned it this time. Convo College, No Filter Young Turks. Jordan Cheriton hasn't talked about Bernie or bust this time, to our knowledge. Ring of Fire. Nico House has covered it. He interviewed me. Benjamin Dixon refuses to talk about it because, there's a fascist in the White House, and Ben Dixon is going to help reelect him if he doesn't help his viewers, his listeners, understand only Bernie beats Trump. So I don't know if you can change his mind about that. He seems pretty close-minded about that. Rational National. The Humanist Report hasn't talked about only Bernie beats Trump. These people need to be woken up, and it's up to you. Get a hold of them and reach out to them and ask them to cover Bernie or bust. And that's basically it for this particular broadcast. Thanks for listening. Again, I'm Victor Tiffany with Revolt Against Plutocracy. Share this video. Subscribe to Bernie or Bust TV. The trend, only Bernie beats Trump, because it's true.